All right, come on, everybody. Welcome in. It is House Edge Live with John from Casino Gaming Central. Hopefully, we have more normal volume today. I don't know what I screwed up yesterday, but anyway, I think it looks like I'm looking at the levels. I think that things are good today. Can I get a thumbs up from the crowd out there if the sound is good today, so I know that I can keep on going and get the normal show started. I think we're good. Also, still doing the dual stream thing. I'm going to stop doing the verticals next week until YouTube and my software that I use meshes and I can get a single stream with two formats. I'll stop making it more confusing. It does still record the vertical, but I don't know. Anyway, neither here nor there. Let's get started with the show today. So here we go. What's wrong with casinos, by the way? I think it's funny. I had this relationship with casinos, right? I'm building the app and with Casino Quest, and part of the app is teaching dealers how to deal. Part of it's teaching players how to play. Part of it is providing the casinos a window into how players play, right? And it's like a little bit of I'm touching all three sides of it, right? But every day I say things like this, right? The casinos are here to ban you, right? And I think part of me and I raise it up. We're at combat with these guys, and I believe that to be true. However, I love gambling, right? I like to do it. It's fun. It's a good exercise, entertainment, blah, blah, blah. I think that there's this marriage in there somewhere. We haven't really quite found it yet. But in the meantime, the table is tilting out of our favor, right? It used to be relatively fair games. Now they're not. Now the games are inherently unfair. The tactics they use are inherently unfair. So we've got to fight as people, right? We have to come in here with some sort of an arsenal, some sort of a toolkit, let's call it, right? Which we call the bridge, right? It's your bankroll. It's how you leverage the bankroll. We might talk a little bit about that today, actually. How you manage, view, understand your risk. How do you identify what's going on around you? Is it time to leave, time to play? Do you have discipline? Do you set goals? And are you in check emotionally? Again, we'll probably cover that today too. All these things, right? These mental tools that we have to kind of use, I think help us in that fight to kind of walk out of the casino without feeling bludgeoned, right? I'm not trying to make you guarantee winners, but I'm trying to help you not get bludgeoned. Anyway, we have, to that end, we've started this series, and the series is called The ABCs of Gambling. And what I've done here is, let me get out of that, is having some fun, right? Try to find different ways to kind of approach some of these problems or these issues, right? And I've done it with using each letter of the alphabet to kind of raise up some awareness on certain terms or ideas or whatever. And so we're kind of moving right along. And today we're in the letter S. We've actually done, believe it or not, all the alphabet up to the letter S. We only have about 6 days left after this. But we'll talk today about strategy and yourself a little bit. And here's the thing. Gambling strategy is not just knowing the right plays. It's about building a framework, right? Session planning, bet selection, sizings, progressions, and all that stuff, right? Today, we're going to define some terms that get thrown around a lot, break down a little bit about slot machines and how they work at the hardware level, I think. And I want to identify some bets we ought to skip. So with all that said, let's go ahead and let's hop on in. Let's hop on in and get to it here and talk about sessions. And I think, as you know, I'm a big fan of John Patrick, right? And one of the things John Patrick has instilled in me, and I say that he has instilled it in me. I've watched those videos a million times and read the books, right? And I think people like me who disseminate this stuff are passionate about it. Session bankrolls, the way you manage a session, I think, is one of the biggest separators between, a recreational gambler. I want to say a professional gambler, but somebody who gambles as in a professional manner. Let's put it that way. It's hard to be a pro, but you can act like a pro. And I think session management helps you there. And a session to me isn't just sitting down and playing, right? I look at sessions as units of work. And so what does that mean? It has a start. It's got a stop. right? You start work, you stop work, and you got a job to do when you're at work. That's how I look at a session, right? And so, how do you build a session? And first thing you ask yourself is, where's your money coming from, right? Your session bankroll that you're playing with at the table or that day or whatever, that trip or that whatever, that is a piece of a larger bankroll. Okay. You have $2,000 set up for your trip bankroll. You might split that up into four $500 sessions. You might use the envelope system, some amount of cash allocated, quote unquote, per session. And that session doesn't mean your time at one table. It means your time on the floor. Okay. Whatever, your cash allocated per session. And when that envelope is empty or that money is burned or gone or whatever, you're done. That session, that's however you do it. The session bankroll is not your whole bankroll. It's a slice of it. And its job is to fund that one period of play. And if you wind that back, right, what I bring to Vegas, if I brought $2,000 to Vegas, I consider that a session. It's a session of sessions. My master bankroll is here. My Vegas trip is here. My time on the floor is here. That session bankroll kind of follows a pyramid. Okay. Now, the second thing we have to think about is, what is the session's job? Okay. Not every session has the same goal. And let's be honest about that. If you're going in there and saying, oh, I'm just going to light the casino on fire this session every single time, you're going to get destroyed. Think about this. Some sessions are literally about testing strategy at low stakes, right? I saw a post on Color Up yesterday. He made a video and some asshole put a post out there, and it's like, you put all this crap out there, you never tried the casino. And Jeremy's like, I do try the casino. Everything I put up there, I've tried at the casino. Maybe it's at Bubble Craps. Maybe my session today is at Bubble Craps for $1 to try something out and get a sense of rhythm, right? But it's a real job, right? Testing a strategy at low stakes. Sometimes it's about grinding towards some dollar amount, going to a bubble machine to grind out $50 so I can go do something else, right? I think Jen does this. Jen from Justice Jen. She's famous for going to the Bubble Craps machine, winning money, going to the craps table, letting it on fire, going back to the bubble, winning money to go play real craps, right? I used to do it with Baccarat. I would take Baccarat sessions to go play craps, to learn craps with. I'd play Baccarat, which I was pretty good at, win money, use that at the craps table to learn how to play craps. That's okay, right? Sometimes your session is there to learn about discipline. Like I give you my challenge, go to the casino with $100, win 10, go home. Sometimes a session is designed to teach you something. Sometimes a session is about recovery, trying to claw back from an earlier loss earlier in the session. Okay. Define that job before you get out there and sit down. I'm going to go play craps this way for this long with this much money so that I can. I've given that goal statement before. In this session, I'm going to risk X, doing Y to win X or whatever it is, and give it a reason. It's important. Okay. Your session might be there to lock up chips. Okay. I misstated that. The job you're doing during this session, I think, is important, and how we manage our money in this session, I think, is important. And I think I've talked to you about short stacking a long time ago. So let's think about how we manage our money within a session. So one thing you can do is, you're on task. You know what your goal might be, right? Lock up your chips during the session when you're ahead, right? Take the original buy-in off the table, slide it aside, whatever you do, put it in your pocket, as long as it's not in play. Okay. And now you're playing with only profits. Okay. Does it change anything? Yeah, it does lock up your original. It maybe locks up a little bit of profit, but it's a psychological game, right? You're shifting your mindset from I've got all this money to beat the casino with to I've already got my money back plus a little bit, and now I'm going to play. Dr. S says in chat, out of sight, out of mind, right? I'll put that up there for everybody to see. OOSM, out of sight, out of mind. Lock it away. As a matter of fact, and I hate to keep doing this to you, but in the game that I'm building as part of Nexus, there's a lockup feature in the game. When you're playing the video game, as you hit a goal, you set a goal before you start, you have the chance to lock up your money. It actually moves your video game chips off to the side and puts them in gray so you can't touch them, right? Playing with what we call a short stack, right? Lock up the win, play with a little bit. It's a fantastic way to live. I'm telling you, when you do that, you're free. You have this it just washes over you if you manage your session in such a way that you're locking up your original plus some profit and playing short. It's awesome, right? In a session, you can also choose to level up. If you're ahead and the table conditions are right, this is a time to increase bet size, right? Use that compounding logic to say, well, you know what? I'm ahead. I bought them for $1,000. I've got 2. Instead of betting quarters, I'll bet 50. And I'll do the same system for a little bit at a larger size, and I'll accelerate the process, right? You're playing with profits. I hate to say house money, but profits. A press and regress approach works there. It's great. It's time to press after a win, pull them way back, and now you're up and pull. It's beautiful. You're not betting scared because you've already got your position established. That's leveraging your current bankroll, right? Know your session triggers, right? You set them before you sit down, right? Your time limit, your loss limit, your win target, whatever that is. When one of them hits, you honor that. And not because you're afraid. That was the plan. And the plan has an exit clause for a reason. Now, again, the exit clause might be that lockup phase. My goal was 250. I can lock up 250 if I've got extra. If I'm down from previous session, that extra money goes and covers that up. If I'm not, leverage time. Okay. After your session, tighten the bow, close the loop. What was the job? Did you do it? Where did you deviate? What was the deviation? Smart or emotional? Do your targets need adjustment for next time? The 5-minute little recap with yourself, a little review session, a little bit of coffee, and like, okay, how'd all that go? That's what turns that one session into some education, into some build for the next ones. That's what I say on screen there. The session has a start, a stop, a job, and a KPI. KPI in business stands for key performance indicator. How did it do? What can I do better next time? Right? These are the things that separate gambling and recreational guy from professional guy who's trying to get a job done. It's really important, right? There is luck involved and there is skill involved. And I know Duracell is saying S should be for skill and luck. We will definitely cover skill and luck as the letter S when I do my ABCs of YouTubers. And that's the next probably big series I'm going to work on. All right, there's a look at what a session is. Now, the next thing I want to talk through is strategies. Now, it's funny. Some of my best friends, Jeff, Ed, from Roll to Win, and Jeff from Mid-Atlantic Crafts, hate the word strategy. For some reason, that term drives them as crazy as the word trend drives me, which is kind of funny. There shouldn't be debate on it, okay? But there's debate about what the word strategy actually means, and I want to give you a clear definition on it that I think we can all agree on, right? The word strategy does get thrown around a lot, and I think people they mean very different things when they say it. So here's the way I see it. It answers 3 questions. A strategy does, right? 1, where does your money go? Like, what bets are you making? Where my money is going on the 6 and the 8, or it's going on the first and third dozen, whatever it is. That's part 1. Where is the money going? Part 2 of a strategy is how much am I betting? How much is on each number? So it's where the bet is, how big are the bets? The third thing a strategy says is, or question that it answers, is what do you do when you win or lose? If all the bets lose, am I laddering up? Am I rebetting? Am I reducing down? Am I doing a J curve or am I doing a negative progression? Am I winning? Am I pressing or am I collecting? That's it. Strategy is where does it go? How much is out there? What do I do when I win or lose? Period. That is strategic. That's thinking through the gambling problem, right? When you can answer all 3 with what you're doing, that's a strategy. Now, the other word that gets tossed around, and I think sometimes interchangeably, is the word system. And I think system is the one that most people get triggered by. Systems are typically what are sold, right? But let's walk through that. The way most gamblers use the word system is to answer question 3, which is what do I do when I win or lose? Systems really do answer the third question. What happens when I win or I lose? Martingale's double after a loss, right? A Paroli, you double after a win. Fibonacci, you're following some mathematical sequence, or the D'Alembert, like Wayland does, is adding after a loss, subtracting after a win. Those are betting progressions. They're tools. They answer one of the questions out of the 3. They are not a strategy on their own. They're ways to employ. It doesn't mean that they're useless or bad. Progression system is a component of a strategy, the same way a tire is part of a car, right? But nobody calls a tire a car. You follow what I'm saying? So to me, a complete strategy is what it looks like. We can use craps as an example, right? A bet selection might be pass line with max odds, come bet with odds. No prop bets, no hard ways. Your bet sizing, $10 base on a $500 session, bankroll, and I get 50 units of runway, right? The progression might be after a winning pass line, I make the base bet 15 so I can get more odds on the next one, right? Pull back 10, pocket the difference. If it loses, I stay at 10. That might be a simple little strategy. Where the money goes, how much is there, how do I handle a win? Done. My session rule, 90 minutes, stop at 20 units or 30 units of loss, whatever comes first. Easy. That's a strategy. Every decision is accounted for before you go to the table. You're not doing it by, seems like fives are rolling, let me go throw some money on a 5. That's not a strategy or a system. That's just you feeling it out. And sometimes feeling it out works. Most of the time it doesn't, because the dice don't give a shit about what you're feeling. Okay. One more thing I think worth saying clearly as I can is that no system or strategy, no matter how clever, no matter how funny of a name we give it, none of it changes the house edge. It just is what it is. Martingale doesn't beat math. Fibonacci can't beat the math. A good progression manages the shape of the result, how your wins and losses are distributed. It's valuable, but it's not magic. And calling anything a winning system is overselling it, because you're going to eat the house edge no matter what. This is about, and I think this is important, right? I think strategies, systems, they speak more to when and how your wins and losses happen. How drastic of a win is, how bad of a loss is, right? They speak to when it happens and how bad it is, not that it's going to happen. You're going to lose at some point, right? Systems talk about how it happens, when it happens, and how badly it is. That's what it's all about. To me, these things are encompassing. So I like the word strategy, and I employ different strategies when I play. Sometimes a strategy is a dark side strategy where I'm putting money on the don't in a progression, right, for certain amounts and length of time. Sometimes it's positive. So there it is. That's my thought on strategies and sessions. I think that, again, they're not bad words. Although some people frame strategy as a bad word, it's not a bad word. It's just a way to frame what you're doing with your money, where it is, how long it's out there, how do you handle it when it wins. All right, next up we have sucker bets. Yikes, sucker bets. Actually, I'm going to put Duracell's comment because it's interesting, right? Before I talk sucker bets, I'm going to go. I can't go back a screen. Can I? Can I go back a screen? Can I do that? I can't, because I think it's interesting. He says here, martingales do beat the math, right? But like I told you before, the table limits defeat the martingale, right? A martingale, I love a Marty +1, right? Marty +1 is even better than a martingale, right? A little extra juice in every bet. It does beat the math, which is why you can't do it. Go back to my very first slide. The casinos exist to bankrupt you or ban you. You found a way to play. Martingales are a way to play that will for sure 100% beat the casino. They don't allow it. Done. They cap the table limit so you cannot do a martingale. And don't think those table limits aren't tied to 6, 7, 8, 9 steps. There's a reason why table minimums and maximums typically match in some way. And at low budget casinos, that max is even smaller. Jerry's Nugget, $5 minimum, $200 max. You get 4 levels, you're done, right? They sweat it. So you're right, Duracell. Martingales do beat the math, but the casino stamps down so you can't do it. So that's, again, the point of this whole series, the point of my channel is exactly that. You, God forbid, figured out a way to do something, they will 100% for sure make sure you can't do it. That's the fight that we're in. That's the fight that we're in, and it sucks, doesn't it? All right, sucker bets. So there are wagers where the house edge is so much higher than the game's baseline, right? Every game has them, right? A lot of times they're called side bets. In some games, they're part of the regular action, right? Every casino's got a range of them, right? Depending on which bets you want to make. So the baseline, right? The best bet in the game you're trying to play. That's kind of the reference point. I got a lock up over here. Hello, what's going on? Hang on a second. Am I locked over here? What is happening? I think I'm locked up. I am locked up. What is going on? Hello, can you hear me still? I feel like my whole system just shit itself. Hello? Yeah, maybe I don't know. What is happening over here? I gotta close. I gotta close. Hold on. My system. You can't see what I'm seeing, but it's going a little bit crazy right now. So hold on a second. I gotta stop this. What is happening here? My God. Yeah, something here just locked up on me, and I can't move forward. I can't move my mouse or my keyboard. So hang on a second. I can't change screens. So hold on a second. I gotta force quit this Keynote. My screen's going to go away there for a minute. It may actually, there it goes. All right, let's restart that. Sorry about that. My the PowerPoint that I'm using crashed on me. So let's go that. Sorry about that. Makes the show a little jumpy when that kind of thing happens, but here we go. Can you see? Hello? Come on. There we go. All right, let's try it again. I think everything's gonna work. The video's good. The app that I use to run the words on screen just crashed, and so I couldn't move my mouse. So all right, here we go. Let's talk about sucker bets. So these are the waiters where, again, the house edge is so much higher than the baseline, right? And every game in the casino's got this range of house edges for the most part, right? Blackjack is what it is. The house edge is what it is at its core, 2.5%. Your strategy can lower or raise that, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. It's the side bet next to the main bet. That is the sucker bet. That is you go from a 2% house edge bet on your main blackjack bet to a 22% house edge on a side bet, right? So let's walk through some of the bigger games and identify some things, right? So let's Baccarat, right? The banker, we know this, right? The house edge is about 1%, player about 1.2% roughly, right? Those are your baselines. The sucker bet is the tie at 14% house edge. It pays 8-1. It looks cool, right? And all the people with the little charts, we talked yesterday, all the roads, right? The charts, they're all looking for when to bet the tie, right? Bam, it's time for a tie. Like however that chart tells them a tie's coming, whatever. Pays 8-1, looks good, but you're giving up 13 times the regular house edge to make that bet. And it's a one-shot bet, right? Remember, Baccarat, if you're a craps player, you'll understand this term. You're playing Baccarat, everything's a hop bet, right? You're hopping on the tie. You're hopping on the side bets. It's a one hand thing. You're hopping something for 14%. It's like center action on a craps table. It's crazy, right? Blackjack, we know this, right? Basic strategy, good rules. You got it figured out. It's about 0.5%. The insurance side bet, when they say, would you like insurance? 7% house edge on that bet, right? It feels like you're protecting your hand, but what you're doing is you're bleeding it out at 14 times the baseline house edge, 14 times the regular house edge on the bet for making insurance, right? Insurance loses, you got to win 2 more bets to cover it. It's crazy town, right? Craps, we know this, right? We had the 1.4, whatever edge on the line, the 6 or 8, they're all about the same, right? But you look at the center of the table at the props, any 7. 16.7% house edge, right? Any craps, 11%. The hard ways, 9 to 11%. These bets are huge. The dealer's slapping the stick and column for them. Why? Because it increases the table hold, right? They call them out because the edge is 7 to 12 times higher than the core bets. The worst one is the ATS. I think it's 20-something%. It's worse now. It used to be, I think it used to be the full, the all, used to be 16% or 17%. Now that it pays 150 instead of 175, it's 23% house edge. Insanity, right? Fun when it hits, like a tie in Baccarat. But I'm telling you what, that bleed, you'll never catch it up, right? To me, the pattern across all the games is the same. The bets with the biggest payouts carry the highest house edge. It's not a coincidence. It's how the math works, right? The higher payouts mean it's less likely to happen, and they can price that for extra margin. It's like buying ice cream in the grocery store. It's a convenience item that you don't need, That's super fun to have and yummy, yummy, yummy when it happens, but it's awful for you in the long run, right? How you spot the sucker bets, right? I think we should all know this by now, but know the baseline house edge for the game's best bet. Now, I'm not saying you have to always make the best house edge bets, right? Perhaps, the box numbers are worse than the pass line. That's fine, right? I wouldn't call those sucker bets, although they do carry a 2 to 3 times house edge difference, right? The winnability of those bets is different than hopping something in the center, right? But you got to compare the house edge to the side bet or the whatever bet to your baseline. And if it's 5 times, 10 times, 12, 15 times more, is a sucker bet. That's what it is, right? Now, remember this, though. Not every side bet is awful. There are some side bets, by the way, in blackjack, where card counting can actually turn it positive, believe it or not. If you're counting cards, sometimes the side bets become hittable or they become worth it, right? If you're tracking queens or face cards or whatever it is, right? Some progressive bets in like Caribbean Stud have a break-even threshold, right? Those are exceptions to the rule, right? But they require something specific to know about it. So what you got to do is, again, know the base edge for your game. Is anything out there triple, quadding, 10xing, or 25 times the core edge? Sucker bet. Worse even, and I said this yesterday, is when a sucker bet is required to be played. There's a few blackjack games in downtown, Bing, as I know, has these things where you're playing blackjack. They got some stupid ass side bet that you have to play. You can't play blackjack even at 5 or 10 or $25 without dropping $1 on some ridiculous side bet. And that side bet at that game is 27% house edge. You got to bet the dollar every single time. You're bleeding out your money to play there. Remember, blackjack is designed for 75 to 80 hands per hour. Good dealer gets you 100 hands an hour. Okay. If the casino's making you drop $1 on a side bet to play the hand, that's $100 an hour per person. Roughly. Let's call it $75 an hour for a 5-spot table. What's 75? 75 times 5 is what? $375, right? Per hour for the side bets. I told you once before, a $10 blackjack game loses $85 an hour. A full 5-spot blackjack table at a $10 game loses money now. At $10, the casino loses money on that game because the dealer rate of pay, the cost of all the salaries, the food for the dealers, the insurance, all that stuff, right? For the health insurance, whatever. It costs them $85 an hour to run a blackjack game. Guess what? When you force everybody to play a dollar side bet, that $375 an hour covers the loss. This is what they do. This is what they do. You spot something like that, run, don't walk, right? ATS and craps, fun. I love it. Whatever. It's all good. If you're required to play the pass line, the ATS became a sucker bet. That requirement of playing the pass line kills whatever positives the ATS may have had for you. So it just is what it is. All right, here we go. Next up, we have the slots. Everybody goes, oh shit, John's going to talk about slots. I hate slots. Okay. But people play it and you should know this. You should know how they work. And I mean, it's kind of a gimme for letter S, right? And I don't want to talk about like slot strategies or don't play them or RTP again, right? But we have to look at, I think, how the machine works a little bit. I want to give you a little bit of insight maybe that you didn't know about how the machine works on the hardware side of it. We'll talk a little strategy here too, but everybody, by the way, who has slots has some theory about how the machine works, right? Let's look at what's happening actually inside the box. And I'm a computer guy, so this kind of stuff I think is interesting. It's different than it was before. Before it was mechanical. And there was a mechanical way, and the guys had the little, remember they could cheat the system by putting the little piece of metal in the coin slot, whatever. All that's gone, okay? The machines work by picking from a list of outcomes. And you may not know this, okay? The machine determines your outcome through what's called an RNG, a random number generator. And once we understand how that works, it puts things into place. Now, that's a chip. The RNG is actually a physical chip inside the machine, and it generates numbers like hundreds of thousands of numbers per second. Whether you're playing or not, it's generating numbers, right? And it doesn't start when you press spin. It's just going all the time. It's always running. When you hit the button, bang, it picks a number. It's boom. You hit the button, it knows the result instantly. It knows the result. It's what number got produced at that millisecond is what the outcome was. Okay, done. Everything that happens after that, the things spinning, the pigs barking, or whatever the hell they do, all the shit that's going on, it's all show. Right? It already knows if you won or not. It's just going to give you a little video to show you how you won or how you lost. That's all that it's going to do. The result is predetermined. But here's the thing. What's the number? I say that the RNG is running and it picks a number. What does that even mean? Right? This is going to sound confusing, but when a machine has an RTP, a return to player of 97.5%, how does it get to that number? How does it know? Well, there's a predetermined set of outcomes. The gaming chip, the RNG and the gaming chip, a predetermined set of like whatever the number is. Let's call it a billion. It's probably more than that. A billion outcomes on a machine. Okay. There's a billion, win 1 unit, win 2 units, win 3 units, lose 4 units. All the different outcomes, all the possibilities are preloaded. The machine already has all the outcomes pre-configured and preloaded. That set of outcomes will guarantee over the lifetime of that machine 97.5% return, or whatever the number has been set on the machine to be the return to player. It's already in a bucket. When the random number generator goes, it stops on a number, it goes into the bucket and it pulls out result number 16,437,132, and there it is. It's a 1 unit win. Literally how it works, right? All of the outcomes are predetermined. The Nevada Gaming Board, the New Jersey Gaming Commission, they pre-check the machines. They guarantee that the chip has the correct number of outcomes, and that when all the outcomes are exhausted, that machine will have produced 97.5%, or whatever the RTP is, guaranteed. They certify, and out it goes. Then the RNG starts ticking. And as it's ticking and moving, and you press the button, bang, it gets a number, goes into the bucket, and it removes that outcome from the bucket. Now the bucket has 900 million, whatever, left in it. So as outcomes happen, they come out of the pool. So there's an outcome pool, there's an RNG. The RNG clocks a number, takes one out of the pool reduces in size. At some point, the machine goes dark. It runs out of outcomes. That's how it works. That's how it works. It's all, there's no hot, there's no cold. It's at the end of the day, that machine's going to produce a certain amount of profit. Period. End of story. It's how it works. Okay. It all maps virtually. The way that number produced some outcome and the video that you see, it's all virtual mapping, right? It's like if it's a 2 unit win, it's got 77 ways to make a 2 unit win show up, and maybe 2 cherries here and a crown over here and a card here. And you're going, oh, I almost got it, right? That's how it controls the probability without you seeing it. The 2 machines, by the way, can look identical, same symbols, same real layout, everything. But the virtual real map, the mapping behind the video screen, and the size of the bucket is different. That explains how you almost got it, because they can make it look like anything they want to. 2 jackpot symbols, and the third one stops 1 away. Like, oh, I was so close. I was so close, but it doesn't matter. It's a YouTube video for you. It's like a TikTok video. It's like designed to make you, oh, I almost had it, and here we go. Right? So that's the way that it works. Okay. The RTP on a machine, by the way, is over millions of spins, not your session. Over millions of spins, it will average out. That's what it'll end up being. So you may be in a spot where, whatever, the majority of the bucket numbers that get pulled out are winners. Good for you. You're lucky that day. You may be the day where it's opposite. Okay. Now, all that said, how they work physically, I think, is very interesting. But people still think there's a system to it. There's a system they can play to win, right? Players use all kind of approaches, right? They will work, they'll bet super low until the machine kind of warms up, right? Or they smack the machine. I love when they smack the machine, right? Then they switch to max bet. They play at certain times during the day when they think machines are due, right? Cruise ships are famous for people. Oh, you got to play the slots on the first day of the cruise ship because they want all the noise and stuff, and then the rest of the cruise stock is all bullshit, right? Um, they say pick the machine by the door or pick the machine by the cage, by the cashier's cage, right? Other than location, and I will give you this, right? Because every machine in the casino has a different RTP. Some of them are 99%, some are 95%, some are 80%. I would not put it past the casinos to put the higher return to player machines near the cashier's cage or near the front door or next to the bar where people tend to congregate because you want more wins and excitement where there are more people not playing to get them to play. Very often, the higher RTP machine is here and right behind it is a shitty machine, right? And you don't know that because you're looking at like, okay, here's the good one. That one must be good too, right? Nope, that's the bad one. That's how they get you. That's how they get you, right? Sidewinders coming to get you. So yeah, I think none of these can work mechanically, right? There's no, the days of mechanical games are gone because everything is regulated, okay? The games of you trying to figure out or cheat the system with some other thing, gone. There's no way to cheat the system anymore. The thing of it is, all the guys that cheated the machines and cheated the games have made it so you can't. Now it's all under regulation. The chips are under regulation. The RNGs are under regulation. Nothing you do, rubbing the machine, altering your bet sizes, all that bullshit is bullshit. You can't change it because of the way the RNGs work now. I'm not judging slot players. It's just engineering has eliminated all of it. There's no system in slots that'll ever win. But if you understand how it works, it'll explain your experience better. And that's just the way that it is. And there's no way to know, by the way, how many outcomes are left in a machine. A machine might have a million outcomes left. It might have 20 outcomes left. You just don't know. You don't know. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to the next thing here. We have streaks and swings, my favorite topic. Streaks, by the way, are real. They're real events in that they mean something. They mean something. But what they mean is not what we think they mean. This, again, getting in your head a little bit. Let's talk about what they really are. So you win 5 in a row, whatever it is, 5 hands, 5 blacks or reds, 5 bankers, whatever the thing is. It's a real thing. It happened, right? What does it mean going forward? That's the question, right? You see the 5 reds, you got your Baccarat scorecard, and you got this nice little tail coming down. You got 5 banks in a row. You're like, holy shit, look what's going on. What does it mean when you see that? It means nothing mathematically. It means nothing. The next thing that's coming has nothing to do with what just happened, right? The shoe does not know that it just dealt 11 naturals in a row to the bank. It does not know that. The shoe doesn't know. The shooter in craps, as good as some of us are, do not know what number is coming next. And a matter of fact, what just happened has zero effect on what's about to happen. It just doesn't, right? It doesn't feel that way. It feels like it matters, right? Because again, your brain is good at this. Our brains are mapping random shit into patterns. It's what it's good at. And the problem is for us, that wiring, again, it's evolution, right? For humans, that wiring doesn't turn off at the casino. Your brain sees 5 things in a row and it goes, hot streak. And it starts predicting a 6th for some of us. For some of you, it predicts, oh, that can't happen again, so it's got to be the other side of it, right? Here's a useful way to think about it. Let's take the phrase hot table or cold machine or whatever, right? They are descriptions of what has happened. It's accurate. Table has been hot. Table has been cold. Machine has been hitting. Has been, was, not is. There's a difference there. Past tense, right? Past tense, present tense. So what do you do with streaks, like when they happen? And I think my advice always, if you're going to be a streak bettor, whether it's Bach or blackjack or whatever your game is, pass line and craps, whatever the streak you're looking for, the field, God forbid, in craps, right? What do? You get in low. You get in low, and when the streak forms, escalate as it continues. What does that mean? Press the winning bet. It means going in for 2 units, taking a win of 2 units, and coming down to 1 unit. And then every subsequent hit, up a unit, up a unit, up a unit, up a unit, up and pull. Right? If the streak keeps going, your bets get a little bit bigger and you keep pulling back more money. Right? That's how you quote unquote bet a streak. If you're on a streak, follow a progression, you're going to be okay. If you're on a streak and you go, Feels like the wind's blowing from this side. That streak's going to keep on going, and you rail dump into the streak. You're a moron. That's when you lose your money, right? This is why we talked about systems and progressions earlier, right? Those systems matter. The systems are how you capture a streak. By betting a smart way, predetermined, it'll take care of a good streak. It'll also react to a poor streak. So your system accounts for it. You don't got to make a decision in the moment because you made your decision earlier. Okay. If you're on a losing streak, by the way, set a loss limit. If you're on a losing streak and you're not doing a ladder, losing streaks that have ladders as part of their system, one discussion. Losing streak when you're not playing a ladder needs a stop loss. After 5 in a row, stop. Right? We always joke about this. If you're getting punched in the face, move your face. Right? You take 5 losses in a row and you're not doing a ladder, stop playing and just stop playing. I'm not saying it's going to keep on happening, but as streaks form, they sometimes keep going. Stop playing until it turns. Then go back in and restart again. The danger with streaks, honestly, isn't that the streaks happen. It's making unplanned decisions when you're in one. That's the problem, right? I think if you're going to be a quote unquote streak better or a streak hunter, you got to have a plan for when it goes bad and for when it's going good. If you're just going to be out there kind of willy-nilly betting a streak, you're going to be in trouble. And I say on screen here, right? Plan for them, lean into them when they're going on. Are you going to hunt it down? No. It's a very important distinction. So streak betting, I think, is a real thing, especially in certain games, but you can't go out there expecting it. You can't go out there with a feel. You've got to have a way to approach it. And I think it's all about bet sizing and timing, and that's all that it is. So, all right, there's your streaks. Next up, be satisfied. Is Waylon here today? Waylon's always saying be satisfied. This is a topic for Waylon. Satisfaction is a skill. It's a skill, right? Being satisfied. It's knowing what enough looks like and having the discipline to kind of accept that. Let's get into it to defining it. And how do we use it? So let's define it first. Satisfaction, I think in the context of gambling, it's a predefined sort of outcome that you've decided in advance is good enough, good result. When that arrives, when that happens, you accept it and you're kind of done. So better said, I think you're being satisfied puts you in a position to give yourself permission to do the next thing. The next thing might be leaving. That next thing might be hitting the gas and leaning in, right? When you're satisfied, the next decision that you make is given permission by you to make the call. It's different from a simple win goal, right? The win goal of $300 and I'm out is different. Satisfaction is a little bit broader, right? It includes the win goal, but it includes other things. It may account for time, how the session went, the overall experience, and the satisfaction target might be dollar-based, right? I'm satisfied if I leave up one full buy-in, clear, measurable, right? Your satisfaction might be, hey, I got 3 hours out of this day. It was great, right? I'm within a few bucks of my goal or my buy-in. I'm fine. I'm satisfied with 3 hours of play and up or down $10. It's a tie. Good. Bye. I had a great time. It's satisfying. It's satisfying to walk out of there not getting your ass handed to you most of the time. It could be unit based, right? I'm playing $10. I'm up 15 units. Lock it up and either leave or play with something reduced. This is what I like to do. My satisfaction has always been, and again, I can argue with people like Ken or Waylon about this, but my satisfaction comes from hitting the goal and having extra money, right? If I have a goal, $100 win goal, and I win 150, I say I'm satisfied with the 100. I will light the 50 on fire. I'll lock it up and I'll short stack that $50 and let it run, right? Or I'll pull off the table what I'm satisfied with for a given shooter. And let's say I've got $100 or $200 and I'm in profit in my rack. If I press those bets out there up to $1,000 each and I get 7'd out on and I never collected, I was satisfied with the 150 I had in the rack as profit. That was my satisfaction level. I gave myself permission to go for the home run. That's okay. If you're satisfied with what you've got, you give yourself permission to do what's next. And what's next might be to say, I'm out, right? It's okay to get out and go get some cocktails, right? There it is. The key to all this is that you define that ahead of time. Like, know what it looks like. Not during the session, like, when you're up and you have the little voice in your head, right? A little more, little more, little more. The voice is always going to be there, doesn't go away. Your defense against that is your decisions that you make, right? So the practical thing is when you hit your satisfaction target, whatever that is, do something physical, color up, put money in your pocket, stand up and walk away, go get a cocktail, whatever it is, right? Decide on the move. And if you're saying to yourself, I should probably go, you should probably go. Okay. It doesn't mean you've played perfectly, by the way. Being satisfied does not mean perfect play. It doesn't mean you won the most money you could have won. It doesn't mean anything other than you had a plan. You stuck with it, you honored it, and you got out of there, right? Being satisfied is a skill. Being satisfied and not having to push all the time is a skill. So there it is. Give yourself permission to do something good. All right. I think that's it, right? Oh no, we have one more. We have one more slide. We'll talk about some other S's. Couple of quick hitters. Okay. One is surrender in blackjack. Okay. And what it is, you give up half of your bet to fold a hand instead of playing it out. It's like folding, but you get half your money back. The basic strategy, you surrender a 16 against the dealer's 9, 10, or ace, right? Or a 15 against the dealer 10. A couple of hands that it's worth it to surrender on. We talked before about those hands you're typically going to hit on because your chance of losing, right? You're going to lose. You're trying to limit your losses when you hit those hands. Not limit your losses, but you're going to lose less over time, kind of thing. If the game allows surrender's the better option. Take half your bet when you get a chance to in those bad situations. Most casinos, by the way, what do? No more surrender, by the way. Surrender's kind of gone by the way of the dodo for most players. If you're shopping for a table in blackjack, if you find one that has surrender and you're a good player and you count cards, late surrender is more common, by the way, than early surrender. Either one's better than none. So find a table that has it. Again, it's a little bit of it takes a shave off that low house edge for you. So, all right. Next up, superstitions. And it's part of culture in a casino, right? Blowing on the dice, your lucky shirt, your favorite seat, avoiding certain numbers, dice off the table, turn my bets off. Here comes the waitress, turn my bets off, right? You see this kind of stuff everywhere, right? Somebody came in mid-roll and bad energy, all that stuff. None of it changes anything. Probability does not change because somebody walked by you. Probability does not change because the drink lady came and asked for your drink. Probability doesn't change because the dice flew off the table. None of that matters. None of it matters. It matters to you. It may change your heartbeat. It may change your energy. It may make you sweat and pissed off. It doesn't change what's about to happen, though. Okay? It gets problematic when it overrides your strategy. Staying at a table because it feels lucky, or because here comes the virgin lady who never played before, right? Or leaving a table or turning your bets off because somebody walked by that had weird perfume on, or whatever the hell it is, right? Abandoning your plan because your gut is telling you something's weird is wrong. Strategies, right? Systems, the outcome of the game, it's all based on math, not on external bullshit. You got to get your heads out of that. And I think people who play superstitiously think they got something figured out. Oh, every time the waitress comes, I throw a 7. Every time somebody buys in mid-roll, it makes a 7 happen. Every time the dice go off the table, it's a horn number. Bullshit. Track it. I dare you. Track it. Bring paper and write it down. Dice off the table. Count how many times it was or wasn't a 7. I guarantee you it'll be 1 out of 6 times. Right? Cocktail waitress came, bugged me. Count how many times the next roll's a 7. Write it down. Cocktail waitress, and put little numbers down. I guarantee you 1 out of 6 times she comes, it'll be a 7 on the craps table. Not gonna be more than that. It won't be every time she comes. It won't be half the time she comes. It'll be 1 out of 6 times. It's the way that it works. You cannot bank on or burn money on superstition. It has nothing to do with anything other than your personal emotional state. And that's under your control, not theirs, or not the casinos, not the dice flying off the table. All right. Now, the last S is stroking the dealers. And I'm doing this topic because of my friend Kevin Farm, who I think is out in chat today. Stroking the dealers, the real definition of that is giving the dealers complicated bets and unnecessary work. Okay. I'll give you some examples and I'll start with me. Okay. Two of the ways that I like to play the right side, as you probably know, duck and cover and the Dallas drawdown. Okay. And these are hard strategies, but I've set them up the way that I play them to be easy. Okay. For example, let's look at the Dallas drawdown. And I'll do it at the big level, but you can do it at even 64 across. But let's say 640 across is the initial bet, which is black chips across, right? I'll tell my dealers, do it with greens, we're going to come down. I'll tell them that. Set up with greens, we're going to come down, right? You go 640 across, you take a hit. The next bet is 320 across. And it's easy to deal because the dealers can take 3 stacks. They can take your 8, 9, and 10, give them back to you along with your win. Take the 3 remaining bets and spread it out. They're already green. It takes them 2 seconds to do it, right? If you do the Dallas drawdown and you've got 160 across, all green chips, and your next move is to go to 96 across on your next reduction, now they got to take all your freaking bets down, convert everything from green to red, and it takes 4 minutes to get it done. That's stroking the dealer. That's making it unnecessarily hard. I get that's what you want to do. I get that it's your money. But you're making it so freaking hard for them to deal that they get annoyed and it takes everybody else's time away. Follow? Duck and cover, right? Green chips out there, pays $35. I take the 2 greens and put the red chips that I got. The 2 reds I got paid become the new bet. Easy. No problem. Simple. That's not stroking the dealer. Doing a duck and cover where you go from $25 on the 5 to a $20 5. Now they got to make change and it's a whole thing, right? Make things easy keeps the game moving. Skill 66, I play it all the time, right? I love it because the drawdown is simple. Add a unit to everything. When I come to 44, you take half my bets down and spread the rest of that. It's easy. If you start the skill 66 at $132 and then you press by $44 and then you come down to 66, good Lord, it takes forever. You got 3 different colors of chips working out there. It takes that dealer 5 minutes to figure it all out. That's stroking the dealer. Do that on bubble craps. That's stroking the dealer. Making it unnecessarily hard to get your perfect bets out there slows the entire game down and everybody's eye rolling, right? It just takes the vibe away. Not that energy or vibe changes the result, but it sucks the life off of the table, right? And it makes everybody's day bad when that's going on. All right. What Kevin does is this, and I've seen him do it, right? Horn high ace deuce, a horn high yo, a separate yo, and a high low. And he does it like this. Give me a $5 horn high yo, give me a $10 horn high ace deuce, give me a $5 yo, and give me a, right? And what's happening is, here's that bet, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the dealer in the middle is like, Jesus, can you just give me the freaking money, right? Now, what you got to do is look at it and say, look, all those bets are redundant. They're all the same bet. A horn high yo and a horn high ace deuce is just a bigger horn, ultimately, right? It's the same bet. A horn high ace deuce and a horn high yo is just a bigger sized horn. That's all that it is, right? Know what you're betting. Look at the numbers that come out and say, look, if I give this guy $32 and say, give me a, $24 horn high yo, you got the whole thing covered in one move. That's not stroking the dealers. It's getting your money out there, but you got to know your game. Okay. It's the difference between stroking the dealers, between saying, give me 44 inside, which they know, versus saying, give me a $10 9, and he puts it up, and give me a $12 6. Oh, and give me a $10 5. Oh, and give me a $12 8. That's stroking. That's string betting, stroking the dealers. Those things slow down the game. And why does it matter? Why do we give a crap about this? Because the casino cares because they want outcomes per hour. They don't want a craps game to produce 30 rolls an hour. They want a craps game to do 60 rolls an hour. So if you're the reason why the craps game is 25 or 30 rolls an hour, they will take the dice from you. They will tell you, you're not allowed to play here anymore. You cannot bet on my table because you're so slowing things down. You're not welcome here. And it may hurt, and it may seem like the kind of thing you should fight the management with. It's their decision. They're there to make money. They're there to make money. They can't do it at 25 rolls an hour. They can do it at 40 rolls, maybe, is about a break even point, 50 or 60 where they want to be. If you're the reason why when you have the dice and somebody walks by you and you take your hands off the dice, you go, I'm going to wait until the waitress is done with her entire job before I make my next bet. Or if you're the guy that's going one bet, one bet, one bet, one bet, and the bets are all complicated, the energy of that table and the speed of that table goes to zero, and they will ban you. They will ban you from that. So that's stroking and string betting are kind of the same thing. You got to be careful about that because the casino does maintain control of their own game and their own speed. You're at their mercy on that. And I don't have a lot of sympathy when I see people doing that. To me, I feel like that person doesn't know. It's our job to say, just call it 44 inside and drop the money here and be done with it. Just, right? Make it easy for them. Understand your inside action and put it out there in one bet. And so it's easy for them to create. Kevin Farm asked the 5-second rule. It's up to them. It's up to them. They can set whatever. There are some casinos where you can't set the dice at all, right? A 5-second rule to me, if you can't get the dice set in 5 seconds, you got to practice setting your dice. I told you that when you were here at the house, right? Learn how to set the dice quick. Learn the configuration of your dice. What's on the other side of the 5? It's a 2, right? What's on the other side of the 4? It's a 3. When the dice come to you and you're looking at it coming at you and you see a 5 on top and a 1 facing you, you better damn well know if I want to get a 3V, right? There's going to be a 6 over here, right? If I'm seeing a 5 on top, the 2's below, my 4 and 3 on the sides, it's either going to be that one or that one. Know how to set your dice quick. Learn how to set. They have control over the speed of their game. And if they don't want you taking up too much time, they can take the dice from you. And I know that it sucks and it pisses you off. It's their game. It's their game. They can control the speed. So again, it's up to you, the player. It's up to me, the player. It's up to all of us to abide by the rules and get it done in a reasonable amount of time. That's all. Just make the game have rhythm. I think, and I'm going to go back to a different screen. I'm going to go back to the Q&A screen. I think I go here, right? There. The game, that's the closer for the yes. All the games to me have rhythm, a certain rhythm to them. And craps especially has a rhythm to it, more than any other game does, right? And when one player takes the rhythm out of the game, again, buying in when somebody's shooting, string betting, doing the weird bets, taking too long, right? Everything kind of grinds to a halt. And as a group, there's a collective groan. And when that happens, and Kevin, you're an energy guy, if you're the reason why the energy of a table is low, you should look at that. You got to look at that. You got to internalize and say, look, something I'm doing here is bringing it all down, right? So you want to keep positive energy, do positive things. Practice setting the dice, practice your bets. That's why I say practice so you can't get it wrong. Practice your bets. Understand all the inside action you want is one bet. It's one bet with a little bit of juice, maybe, right? Your bets on the other parts of the table, make them easy. Make it easy on your dealer. I know people will argue with me on this, but going from green chip bets to red, white, and green, or red and white, it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. And yes, it's your money. Also, strive to make it easier. Construct ways of playing that make things easy, and you'll have a better time. I'm telling you, the extra $4, $5, $8 that we're talking about to make the perfect bet size for you, it's just an energy drain that we don't need and that you don't need, frankly. Make things easy. Just make it easy. All right. Now, let me look at other questions. Do I have other questions that I can answer here? Cues. Let's see. Oh, look at all the questions. Look at all the questions. Let's see. I have not pulled the raffles yet. No, I'm just not doing it yet. Only because I've been busy. I will get to it soon though. I should have done sequences today for sure. I should have done, I'll add sequences to the book, Duracell. How about that? I'll make sure I save this and put it in the book. Old number 7 says I can't split a 60-no pass and a 40 pass without influencing the conditional change, not the odds. What are you saying here? The first 4 rolls on a 6 or 8 have a greater frequency of resolving to no. Oh, I see. You're looking at long-term probability. So Bob is looking at long-term probability. It doesn't, again, unless there's influence, it doesn't change the ultimate outcome. And I said this before, systems play like what you're talking about here, and Bob's got a very complex system that he plays. It's still a system. what this determines, again, is when the losses and wins happen. It delays the length of time between wins and losses, and it tries to maximize when they happen, right? It's how much you win or lose in those moments and how you stretch them out. That's Bob's entire system. And it's genius and it's complex. But I get what you're saying there, Bob. All right. I think I covered everything. Waylon's here. Good morning. I just talked about being satisfied, dude. I hope I covered it well for you. Limit your 3-color presses. Yeah, limit your 3-color presses, please. Limit 3 color. Oh my God. Yeah, prop bet. Let's see what else is in here. I don't see Dr. S. Of course, always bring a ladder, right? Again, the ladder requires 2 things: bankroll and a high limit table. If you don't have both of those things, you cannot bring a ladder. And we got to make sure we call it out every time, Dr. S. The ladder requires a big bankroll to sustain itself, and it requires a ceiling that's high enough to get your ladder in there. And on your side, it requires a lot of heart to stick with it. It's hard, right? So ladders are great. They just come with some caveats. We have to make sure we're on that. Let's see. Oh, Tony Leo was here. I didn't see you pop in, Tony. Thank you for that. So you have some other comments too. I should give Tony a call. It's been a while since he and I have talked. All right. Love you guys. I got to get out of here. I'm off. Oh my God, my meeting. It's 8:30. I've been on for an hour today. Why didn't you guys tell me I was going too long? Wow. Talk to you tomorrow. Love y'all. God bless. I'm out of here. Meeting time. See you for a happy Thursday tomorrow. Bye y'all.